The fourth spiritual law of the universe is perpetual expansion. Perpetual expansion is also known as growth or increase. At the metaphysical level, we find that the life force is a vortex of energy that is spontaneously flowing from the unfathomable source outward toward ever-increasing expression. At the physical level, we find that the life force is a miraculous power that multiplies one seed into 1,000 fruits on a tree, then does the same thing with each of the fruits until the one tree becomes a forest. The process of expansion is so infinite that the world would not contain the grass, trees, fishes, birds, and humans if they were not being recycled through the rhythm of life and death that comes with the seasons of life. At the cosmological level, we find that the galaxies are infinitely expanding toward an edge that is unknown to us. So all things emerge from a source that is unfathomable and blossom toward an edge that is unknowable. In between the source and the edge is the river of life, the spontaneous unfolding and unconditional outpouring of the life force we call God. Life emerges from a source that is one, infinite, and intelligent in nature. Since this source of life is the only thing in existence, it is also an absolute and eternal reality. Through a logical approach backed by science, we have confirmed the truth that our spiritual traditions have taught us for ages. Reality is the self-expression of an absolute, eternal, and infinite being who is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. This being is the source from which all things emerge, the medium within which all things live and move and have their being, the intelligence that organizes and orchestrates all things, the matrix by which all things are entangled into one whole, the power that breathes through all things, the permanence or transcendence within which all things occur as a transient phenomenon, the destiny to which all things return. Life exists within this source as a self-expression of it. This source permeates all life as the essence of all things that exist. Life is a wholesome experience in which we live and move and have our being in God, while God lives and moves and has His being in us. The essence of a thing and the expression of the thing are one. The force of life and the forms of life are one. You are the image of God, but God is spirit. Therefore, being the image of God means that you are the form of God or the embodiment of God. You are not your body or the experiences that besiege it. Your body is only a vessel for the divine essence that you are. Thus, it is true that anyone who sees you sees God. It is a wonderful thing that we have been able to demonstrate the first three spiritual laws of the universe through the process of logical reasoning with scientific backing. This is how you attain enlightenment. When you know the truth, you enter the state of conviction or faith. The faith that is based on knowledge, evidence, and experience is what I call scientific faith. It is scientific faith that makes you invincible. Let us now see how we can transcribe the first 4 spiritual laws of the universe, that is, wholeness, infinity, intelligence, and perpetual expansion, into the practical disciplines that used to be the playground of theologians and the confusion of many people. This exercise alone has the power to transform your life in ways you never could have imagined before. Hope. The source is infinite potential. So like a waterfall, it possesses within itself the urge for self-expression, or the desire to flow outward into manifestation. This is the power we call hope. Faith. Since the source is all there is, it creates all things from within itself. Through the process of self-contemplation, the visible universe emerges out of the invisible source. This is the mystery we call faith. Love. The creative process is the self-giving of God, the spontaneous outpouring of the fullness of God into expression as the forms and phenomena of life. This spontaneous self-expression is the miracle we call love. Grace. The spontaneous unfolding of God is also unconditional. Since God is the only presence that is, there is no power outside of Himself to limit His work. He is the only power that is. Therefore, the expression of love is unconditional, and this unconditional love is the magic we call grace. Glory. Since life is infinite potentiality at its origin, and there is no external force to counter the spontaneous self-expression of life, there must be a corresponding law of infinite manifestation. It is the infinite self-manifestation or infinite self-fulfillment of God that we call glory. Thus, the glory of God is the purpose of life. Free will. In all of creation, man is the only life form that is endowed with the divine attribute of self-awareness. The reason why man is the image of God is so that he can be the God of his own world. When the river of grace flows through man, it gets conditioned through man's own self-contemplation and thereby emerges as a specialized expression. This is one mechanism by which infinite potentiality guarantees perpetual infinite self-expression. Free will is therefore the faculty by which we become co-creators with God for the glory of God. Mercy. Within this infinite river of life that is flowing outward toward infinite expression, there are currents within currents, cycles within cycles, and seasons within seasons, which assure the correction of stupidities, the purification of impurities, the recycling of bodily forms, and the perpetual expansion of all things toward the ultimate destiny, which is the return into God. This is the mystery we call mercy. Destiny. Everything that is contained in a waterfall ultimately flows in the direction of the waterfall. The vortex of life flowing from the unfathomable source of life, to the unknowable edge of life, is more powerful than a waterfall. All that is contained within this vortex serves a purpose that unfailingly resolves into the ultimate good. Therefore, providence, benevolence, destiny, or the will of God is the assurance that all things work out for good. And if all things always work out for our good, we should banish all fear and worry and uncertainty and bask in the wonder of life. I am GodfreyEsoh, and this is Spiritual Engineering.